Hey, this is Andrew Brown from Exam Pro, and what I want to do is just show you a variety of different computing services on AWS. So I'm going to try to launch them, and we're not going to do anything with them. We're just going to simply launch them, okay? So the first I want to show you is EC2. And by the way, we will go more in depth in EC2 later on in this course here. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and launch the instance. Don't worry about all this stuff, but just choose the Amazon Linux 2 so it's in the free tier. All right, we're going to choose an instance type of a T2 micro, so that's part of the free tier. It's going to be set as 1. All these options are fine. I want you to go ahead and review and launch. We're going to launch, and I don't want to generate on a key pair. I'm going to proceed without a key pair. I'm going to acknowledge that because I don't want it. And that's all there is to launching an EC2 instance. And so I can go here and view my instances. And what you'll see is it's pending, okay? And usually it has like a little spinning icon. Maybe they've updated it since then. So I go here. It's hard to see because there's all these terminated ones, but I don't need to do anything with it. I just wanted to show you the actions that you'd have to do to launch it. Actually, we'll leave it alone. Maybe we'll see it when it's launched. The next one I want to show you is Elastic Container Service. And wow, this is old. Let's go. Let's get the new experience, please. It's so old. Okay, checkbox that on, and we'll hit get started, and we'll say create a cluster. And we have some options here, networking only, EC2 Linux plus networking, for use with either AWS Fargate or external Windows. This is if you're doing Fargate, which we're not doing right now. Fargate is part of Elastic Container Service. It used to be. It is called ECS Fargate, but AWS markets it as a separate service. We'll go to next and say my ECS cluster. We can create an empty cluster, but that would make it a Fargate cluster, which we don't want. There's an on-demand server. Look, it's M6I large. If you're very afraid of a lot of spend here, you don't have to do this. You can just watch me do it and just learn. Well, what I'm going to do is try to find something super cheap. So I want a T2 micro or a T3 micro. T2 micro is part of the free tier. I don't know if we get to choose T2 anymore in here. They might not let you. There it is. You know, T3 micro is great too. Whatever says it's free, that's what I'm going to go for. Number of instances, 1. The Amazon Linux version is fine. I don't care about a key pair. Use the existing VPC. I don't want to have to make a new one. Select the existing ones, okay? Let it create a new security group. That's totally fine. Allow those to be fine. Create a new role. That's fine. Create. Okay. And so that's going to create ourselves a cluster. I'm going to just make a new tab here. Let's just check on our EC2 instance. And so if we look at our EC2 instance, it is running. Okay, great. So it has a private IP address. It has a public IP address. All right. There's not much we can do with it. I can't even log into it because we didn't generate out a key pair. A lot of times you want to name these things. So I can just go here and name it my server. Okay. We go back to our ECS instance and the cluster is ready. So we'll go here and, oh, nice, we got a new UI. And so if we wanted to deploy something as a service or a task, we would need to create a template, like a task definition file. They don't have a new UI for this. You're being redirected to the previous version console because this isn't available in the new experience yet. Of course it isn't. So we can create a new task definition file. That's what's used to run it. It's basically like a Docker file, compose file, whatever you want. We have Fargate or EC2. We are doing ECS, so we're going to have to do EC2. So we'll say my ECS task def file. Task role, optional IAM role. I don't need one. Network mode, I don't care. And then this is the idea is that because a container allows you to use up a particular amount of the thing, we don't have to use all of the memory. So we should look up what a T2 micro is because I don't even remember what size it is. Okay, T2 micro, AWS. So we go here, we look at the instance types, and we're going to flip over to T2, and it says that it's 1 vCPU, 1 gigabyte of memory. So what I'll do, 1. Yeah, 1. Okay, that's fine. So what we want, and this is in megabytes, so we'll say 500 megabytes. And I don't know if we can do less than 1, but I'm going to do 1 here. The task CPU must be an integer greater than or equal to 128. Okay, fine, 128. Oh, I guess it's 1024 would utilize the whole thing. So I could say 512, okay? And this is where we would add our container. So I don't do this every day, so I don't remember how to do this. We'll say my container, and I need a repository here. So I need like Docker Hub Hello World. Okay, I don't care what it is. I just need a image that's simple. And I'm looking for the address here. I'm hoping that's just this. Docker Hub URL. So it'd be something like this, right? Docker IO probably. Docker IO, Docker image, Docker Hub URL in ECS. Okay, it goes to show how often I'm launching these things. So repository URL, Docker image. So I think that what we're going to do here, I would really just like the URL, please. Reviews, tags, where is it? Where is it? It's somewhere here, right? Well, let's just try it. We'll go and we'll type in, it says image and tag. So docker.io, hello world. I really need an image ID. Image URL, hello world, Docker Hub. They're not making my life easy here today. Anything. I just want to see like a single example. Docker.io. Docker.io URL examples. ECS. This is what it's like, you know? This is what you're going to be doing if you are, you know, a cloud engineer. You're going to be Googling a lot and just trying to find examples here. So here it says Docker.io, the name, the host name. Okay, so we'll just try it. Okay, so I think that the name here is underscore and then it's hello world, and that's what's throwing me off here, right? Docker.io. Just hold on here. Repository URL, and then there's the tag. I don't know if like, is the tag gonna be like latest, view available tags? Latest. Okay, so what I'll do here, and that's the thing, you have to have a lot of confidence too. So hard limit, soft limit, do I have to set it? Do I have to set any of these things? Can I just go to the bottom and hit add? Looks like I can. Okay, so we'll scroll on down, create. We create our task definition file, which is fine. We're going to go back to our cluster. It's going to bring us back to the new experience. We're going to click into this cluster. Holy smokes. We're going to hit deploy. And we are going to choose service. That means it's going to continuously run. Task means that when it's done running, it ends. We're going to choose our family, our version. That's the task definition file there. It's not compatible with the selected compute strategy. My task file. What if I just choose task? We'll take that. Okay, maybe some you have to like code it so that it continuously runs. I don't care. We don't need to run a service here. The selected task definition is not compatible with the selected compute strategy. Okay, let's see why. Can you double check if you're using Fargate strategy instead of the EC2 blog designed for the EC2 strategy? So probably what it's suggesting is that the strategy file I made is not for the right one here. Task definitions. Go back over here. Well, what's wrong with it? Task role, none. My container. So what I'm going to do, because I don't trust this, I'm just going to go ahead and delete this. Can I delete this? How do I delete this? Oh boy. Actions, deregister, deregister. We'll create a new one. And so AWS has tools like AWS Copilot CLI to make this a lot easier, because you can see this is very frustrating, but I chose this. So my task def requires compatibility of EC2 default 512 512 add container. We're going to what was it, docker.io underscore, what's it called, hello world latest. We'll just say hello world here. And we'll just say 512, which is fine. I don't care about any port mappings. I'm just reading it carefully here to see what it wants. We'll say 512. Maybe because I didn't specify them, it's complaining. This looks fine. We'll hit add. Okay. Constraints, type. This all looks fine. So we'll try this again. And so we now have our file. Let's see if we can just run this task from here. EC2. This is just another way to do it. So we just choose the cluster. This is actually a lot easier to do it. This is old, eh? This is ugly. And so now it launches. So, you know, if you have trouble one way, then just do it another way. And sometimes it'll work here. So I don't expect this task to really work in any particular way. If it's pending, that's fine. If it fails, that's fine. If it's successful, that's fine. I don't care. I just want to go through the motion. So it was successful. It ran and then it stopped. I don't know if we could see like the output anywhere. Probably what it would do is it would log out something like into somewhere. And so I don't know if like there's logs turned on for this. If I go over to like Cloudwatch Logs, maybe I could see something. A lot of these services will automatically create Cloudwatch Logs. So sometimes you can just go look at them there. So we'll drop down. We'll go to log groups here. There is some stuff here. There's a couple that I created from before. Just go ahead and delete those. And so what I'm looking for is like ECS. So no, there's no logging happening here, which is totally fine. So that is ECS. For Fargate, it's pretty much the same. The difference is that Fargate is like it has to start up and run, so it's a lot slower to watch. Okay. And now let's go take a look at Lambda. Okay. So this is our serverless compute. So we'll go ahead and create ourselves a function. We can start from a blueprint. That doesn't sound too bad. And I personally like Ruby, so well, I'm not getting much here. What we can do is look for something like hello. Do we have like a hello world? There we go, hello world. And we'll click that. We'll say my hello world. It's going to create those permissions. That's fine. It's showing us the code. It's very simple. Okay. It's going to console log out these values. Not a very good hello world function. Doesn't even say hello world. How can you call it a hello world function if it doesn't say hello world? I don't understand. So we're going to go ahead and create this function. Usually doesn't take this long. Okay. So here is our function. Here is our code. Notice that this is Cloud9. Okay. And you can even move that over to Cloud9. They didn't have this button here before. That's kind of cool. I hit test. They used to have it up here, but I guess they wanted to make it more obvious. So they moved it down here, which is nice. So what I can do is hit this. Oops, my test. And it's going to send a payload here to the actual function. And it's going to tell us if it worked. Okay, so can I run my test? We go over here to test. They changed it a bit. So I guess I created it there. It succeeded. So I have my logs. Okay, so it's going to output those values there. So there are the 3 values, which basically is nothing. Maybe you were supposed to set those in environment variable, but you can see you're just uploading some code, right? It's just a bit of code. It's not like a full app or anything. So we launched an EC2 container. We did an EC2 instance, a container. We did a serverless function. There's other things like EKS, but that is really, really hard to set up. Okay, because you'd have to use like Kubernetes commands and stuff like that. And my Kubernetes knowledge is always very poor. I'm just taking a peek here to see if they've updated it. So yeah, you create the cluster, but like deploying it is, forget it. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I kind of want to show you. No, those are the main 3, I would say. So I'm pretty happy with that. What I'm going to do is go and kill all these things. So we're going to go over to Lambda, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and delete this. And as you saw, ECS was the hardest, and no matter how many times I've built things on ECS, and I've deployed full things on ECS, I can't remember, and I always have so much trouble with task definition files. It's unbelievable. We'll go over to our cluster here. And ECS cluster up here. Make sure you're not in the Fargate cluster. I know I'm clicking really fast, but there's just so many things to click. And I'm going to click into this cluster. We're going to go hit edit, because this is running an EC2 instance, right? I need to destroy it. It just took me back to the old one here. I want to delete the cluster. Click back here. Where do I delete it? Up here? Here? I can't checkbox anything. How do I delete this? Do I have to delete the task first maybe? So we'll go here. I mean, it's already stopped. There's nothing to do. Edit. Account settings? Wow, this is confusing. Okay. How to delete ECS cluster. You gotta be kidding me. I have to actually look this up. So open the ECS console from navigation. In the navigation, choose clusters. In the new, turn off new ECS experience and choose the old console. The delete cluster workflow is not supported in the ECS console. Are you serious? Then why do you have it? Like, why even let people use the new experience if you don't have all the functionality there? Oh, I was going to give it feedback, but it didn't let me. Here it says, I need to delete an ECS cluster. No. Okay, so I'm here. There's my big ugly cluster. Delete cluster. Okay? So yeah, it's a struggle, okay? Like, things are always changing on me. But you just have to have confidence, and if you've done it a few times, you know that you can do it, right? And that's one of the biggest hangups to cloud, I would say. So it's going to take a few minutes, apparently, to delete the cluster. As that is going, let's go over to EC2. I didn't close it. I kept this tab open. And there's our EC2 instance. We can go ahead and terminate that instance. Terminate. Okay. And if this says it's terminating, then we're in good shape. Terminating or shutting down, that's fine. And notice here, that's the ECS instance. Just make sure you shut down the my server, not the ECS instance, because that's going to stop. And so this is already terminated. But if we go back here, notice that it says that it's not done, but it clearly has shut down. Okay. So I'm going to wait here for a bit, even though I know it's been deleted. Maybe it's deleting things like the auto scaling group. So we go down below here, right? So that's probably what it's doing. It's probably trying to destroy the auto scaling group. But it doesn't show any here, so it must have already destroyed it. Yeah, so the task service is delete. So I'll be back here in a bit, but I know it's safe. It's already deleted, but I'll see you back here in a bit, okay? So I waited literally a second, and it's now deleted. So we deleted our Lambda. We deleted our... Oh, did we delete our Lambda? Good question. Now, I'm not really worried about the Lambda because... I guess we did, but I'm not really worried about it because... you know, when it rests at idle, it's not costing us anything, where the ECS and the EC2 are backed by EC2 instances, so we do have to shut those down, okay? And again, remember, make sure you're in the correct region. Sometimes that gets flipped over, and then you think those resources are gone, but they're actually not. They're just running in another region. So there you go.